video. That was loud. That was a loud intro. I can tell. But that video is from when the Phillies clinched the NL East for the first time in 11 years. That was about 2 weeks ago. But maybe more than 11 years, actually. Yeah, it's more than 11 years. For the first time in 13 years, it was actually. For the first time since 2011. Dancing on My Own was back. And the Phillies are once again, for the third straight year, only the third time in franchise history this weekend, are back in the NLDS. They're back in the playoffs. The second straight year they're going to be in the playoffs, or third straight year they're going to be in the playoffs. But before we get to that, I want to welcome you all to episode 61 of Uncaged Sports Talk, where we will discuss Red October, the Phillies in Red October, what I want their path to be. Sorry for no episode last week, by the way. And then we will discuss my NFL power rankings for week 5 and my Luke Slocks for week 5. Starting off, though, we are starting off with Red October talk. As you saw in that last video, Phillies played a game this week, an inter-squad game. I heard they had some wager. It ended up 5-5. Harper hit a homer. Casty hit a homer. Weston Wilson hit a homer. Ranger pitched at one point. Those homers were off of someone who's not even going to start in the postseason. Spencer Turnbull pitched at one point. Both of them pitched at one point in the game. So they're trying to keep their bats warm, not going cold. And another thing I'd like, I've been worried about getting a 1 seed or a bye the entire playoffs, the entire season. But the other thing I like about getting the bye is our pitching. I think we'll be able to deal with the bye because our pitching is the best in baseball. Our big four, when they're on their A game, are the best in baseball. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Big Game Knowles, both of them step up in big games. Ranger Suarez, Christopher Sanchez. Those four are going to be hard to beat. Hard to beat. I'll take those four against any four in the MLB. And then against the Brewers or Mets, they're in game 3 tonight. They're going to have to be starting their fourth best pitcher in game 1 of the NLDS. Or they might try to do their best pitcher, but I doubt they'll be able to do that. It'll be their fourth best pitcher on the hill versus Zach Wheeler. Their fourth best pitcher, all right, let our bats get adjusted. Zach Wheeler will hold them for 6 innings, and then our bats will come alive in the 6th inning. And then we'll cruise. I don't know if we'll cruise, but let our bats get hot. Let Wheeler dominate until our bats get a chance to get hot against a worse pitcher. I'm excited, though, as Red October is this Saturday. I'm pretty sure I'm going to the game. Going to be a fun game. Me, selfishly now, I actually want the Mets now. Because as exciting as a Brewers series would be, there's going to be extra juice in that ballpark if it's the Mets. New York, Philadelphia. New York's only 2 hours away. We're going to have New York fans traveling down here. There's going to be some extra juice in that ballpark if it's the Mets versus the Phillies. There's going to be juice in the ballpark anyhow. But if it's Mets Phillies, it's ratcheted up. The other question I got, if it's Phillies Brewers, do we boo Rhys Hoskins? He already had his homecoming. Do you boo Rhys because it's the playoffs and he's on the opponent? Might just sit back and be quiet? Boo everyone else on their team? How every playoff game I've been to, I've always done the sucks thing. When they announce the team, when they announce the lineup, I always go, sucks. That. I wouldn't do that for Rhys, but I'm not cheering. Maybe a golf clap. I don't know. I don't know how I react to Rhys Hoskins if it's a Brewers. I honestly got no clue. It'll be cool to see Rhys, as long as Rhys doesn't kill us, which I could see happening. That would be a nightmare. Mets beating us and taking over our own stadium would be a nightmare. We got to win the first game, though. You have to win the first game of a 5-game series. Getting the first run will be huge. I'm very excited though. And then an exciting run for the Phillies, like TV wise, Phillies Mets, Phillies Dodgers, and Phillies Yankees. That would be an exciting run. Shohei Ohtani in the NLCS. That's why I think the Dodgers are going to beat the Padres. A lot of people are picking the Padres, but the Dodgers got the best baseball player of all time. They got the best baseball player of all time on their roster. I think the Dodgers beat the Padres because of Shohei, but I think we got the pitching to just overmatch the Dodgers. To outmatch the Dodgers. They don't got the pitching to keep up with us. We'll be able to blitz their team. I'm excited though for this playoffs. I think the Phillies are going to win the World Series. I'm stating it now. I think they go and win the World Series. I think the matchup, I posted this on Facebook and I believe Twitter as well. I think the matchup is Phillies versus Yankees in the World Series, the 95 series, right up 95 in New York City. The Bronx, Philadelphia, Broughton Patterson, and the Bronx, New York. That would be a hell of a series. Rematch of 2009. We need our revenge. I need that parade. I need to see this Phillies team celebrate on Broad Street. I need to see it. I need to see it more than anything right now. We'll get to Red October next week, as the Phillies will hopefully just end the series by the time I record the next episode. But without further ado, let's get to Luke's list. My NFL power rankings for week 5. Coming in, or first, trending down, the Dolphins trend down 3rd to 32nd. They trend down 11 spots. It's mainly just a QB situation. If you figure out QB, you can move back up. But I got no faith in their QB situation. It's been horrible, horrendous. And who knows when Tua's coming back, if he does come back at all. So the Dolphins are 32 for now. Trending up 7 spots are 2 teams. The Commanders trend up 7 spots to 13th. Only reason they're not top 10 is I need to see it one more week. Like, you've seen teams go on a little run here and there. I need to see it one more week before I actually believe in it. And I'm getting worried. I think they got the best QB in the division right now. I think Jaden Daniels is the best QB in the NFC East right now. But they're at 13. I need to see it one more week. I need to see them have consistency one more week. Then trending up is the Buccaneers. They trend up 7 spots. I think that was a good win for the Bucs. The Eagles are banged up. I expected the Bucs to win. I picked the Bucs last week for my Luke Sox. I posted that on Facebook. But they trend up 7 spots to the 7th spot in Luke's list. I think they're a solid team. Baker Mayfield is baking right now. I stole that from someone I know in my poker league, Pat McVeigh. I had him on my podcast before. He said Baker Mayfield is cooking, or should I say baking? So Baker Mayfield's baking right now. I think the Bucs are a solid team. Godwin's having a really good year. Mike Evans is Mike Evans. The defense is solid with Bowles there. Coming in, though, at number 10 is the Green Bay Packers. I had them at number 3 last week. They moved down 7 spots. I still am a fan of the Packers, but Watson getting hurt hurts him a little. He has a high ankle sprain. And then Jordan Love in his 2 games he's played in has not looked great. He's thrown 4 interceptions in 2 games. He has not been great in those 2 games. If he has another bad week, I would start to question Jordan Love. Maybe his stretch at the end of last year was an admiration. Coming in at number 9 is the Eagles. Listen, I know everyone thinks the sky is falling. I know everyone thinks they're not good. I heard someone say Jalen Hurts isn't even a top 20 QB right now. He's like 15th. Let's be real. He's like 15th right now. The sky's not falling. Yes, you lost to the Bucs. I expected them. I think everyone expected them to lose to the Bucs. I don't know how they were favored. I don't know how they were -2 against the Bucs. Without a Hall of Fame right tackle, without still all-pro level right tackle, without 2 all-pro level wide receivers, at least Pro Bowl level wide receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. without Lane Johnson, as I mentioned, you were going to lose that game. 90% of the time, you're losing that game. And they lost it. Hurts needs to clean up the turnovers. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that. His fumble he had wasn't his fault, though. Levante David got blocked into Jalen Hurts, but he holds the ball way too long. Hurts he's been holding it way too long, doesn't trust his line. But if you don't trust your line, throw the ball quicker. Granted, the receivers aren't getting open for him. Jahan Dotson might be a bigger bust in the NFL than Jalen Reagor was. Jahan Dotson hasn't done shit, hasn't done jack shit. Dallas Goedert went back. I got to give Dallas Goedert credit. I was going to do it last week on my podcast, but I got to give him credit this week. I ripped him a few weeks ago. I got to give him credit for the Saints game. But then you went back to a disappearing act, Dallas. You have these little bloops here and there, but then you go back to a disappearing act. I need you to perform like you did last week most of the time. You should have had a field day last week. Coming in at number 8 is the 49ers. 49ers are just weird right now. They're banged up in limbo right now, peril right now. Showing signs of a Super Bowl hangover there in San Fran. Purdy hasn't played great. Niners coming at 8, though. They'll be a good team when it comes down to it, I think. When they get McCaffrey back, Jordan Mason, Zach is a gem they found. They'll be fine. The Bucs coming at 7. I already discussed the Bucs. The Texans, I've discussed them a few times already this year. I think the Texans are a really good team still, but they're just having a rough patch out. I think by the end, I think the reason the Texans are struggling is just a no preseason thing. A lot of teams would deal with that. But give the Texans a few weeks. Let them find a chemistry together with Stephon Diggs out there. And the Texans will be rolling. Nico Collins is a top 10 wide receiver right now. The Texans are really good. The Vikings coming at 5. They're impossible to deny at this point. Sam Darnold is having an MVP type year. He might be the best quarterback in football so far this year. At least playing like it. We all know Mahomes is the best and all. But Darnold's playing great right now. He's playing the best football right now of any QB in football. Him and Lamar. The Vikings coming at 5. I think Darnold might take a step back this week against his former team. If he has another good week this week, I'll be convinced Darnold's turned the page. I'll be convinced Kevin O'Connell and Kyle Shanahan unlock something in Sam Darnold if he has another good week this week against the Jets defense. Coming in at number 4 on Luke's list is the Buffalo Bills. I think this week was a fluke, this loss for them. I still think they're a really good team. Showed this week not having a Diggs or anything. It showed this week not having Stephon Diggs. It took a hit to their offense, but I think it was a fluke. I think the Ravens just came out ready to play and just turned it into a rout very quickly. The Bills coming at number 4. The Lions coming at 3. Lions have been solid all year long. They've had some rough patches in games, but that's the same thing as the Texans, I think. The no preseason thing hurts teams nowadays. And then coming in at number 2 is the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, despite their first 2 games struggling and almost choking to the Cowboys, they've played pretty solid football. They could easily be 4-0. They could easily be 1-3. That's a lot of the NFL, though. A lot of the NFL has been bad this year. But the Ravens just knocked off the team I had at number 2 by a wide margin. They knocked them off. They blew them out. They blew up Buffalo. The Ravens move up to number 2. Number 1, I'm going to keep saying it. The Chiefs until proven otherwise. It almost feels like the Eagles last year right now. And Rashee Rice getting hurts them. But they're number 1 until proven otherwise. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Not much more to state with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, before we get into Luke's locks, I want to let you all know to go and visit my friend, Dan the Man Stanley, at Sheridan Nissan, where he will hook you up with a new car. Just let him know Luke Saranka and Uncaged Sports Talk sent you. Luke's locks overall are 85 and 59. That's good for 59%. Close to 60. Need to get back to 60. And this year with 13 and 18, it's been a rough start to this year. But we got it turned around last week, somewhat going 3-2. Got to get it turned around. I think we will. Starting off, Luke Slocks, I got the Buccaneers tonight, plus 2.5 against the Falcons. I don't know why they're underdogs again. Vegas, for some reason, doesn't like the Buccaneers this year. They're on the road, so I guess Vegas thinks it's an even matchup. But I think the Buccaneers beat the Falcons here. Plus 2.5. I'll take them with the points. I think they're the better team. The Vikings, minus 2.5. I'll take Vikings minus 2.5 against the Jets. I think this could be a week where Sam Darnold comes back down to earth. I'm a little worried about it. But it's 2.5 for a team that's 4-0. I'll take it all day long. Let's go Vikings. Let's go Sam Darnold. Prove the world wrong, Sam Darnold. Prove me wrong. Prove the world wrong. Prove that you're the quarterback that the Jets drafted. That you were worthy of that top pick that the Jets used. Next on the list, I got the Colts plus 3 against the Jaguars. Last week I picked the Jaguars thinking Dougie P would bounce back, but I like the Colts this week. Plus 3 against the Jags. Jags have had a hard schedule. People are giving them too much shit. They've had a really hard schedule, maybe the hardest in football to start besides that Browns game. But I like the Colts plus 3, especially if Flacco plays. Even if Richardson plays, I think they find a way to cover that plus 3, even without Jonathan Taylor. Yes, I know Jonathan Taylor's out, but I like that plus 3 for the Colts. I think they do enough, especially if Flacco's in. I think they're going to need Flacco if Richardson's not there. I mean, if JT's not there. Next for Luke's locks, I got the Packers minus 3 against the Rams. It's almost too good to be true. I think the Packers cruise with that minus 3 line. Give me the Packers minus 3 against the Rams all day long, every day. And then I got the Steelers minus 2.5 against the Cowboys. Cowboys are banged up. DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be out a while, has a less strength going on right now. Might be out for the year. Micah Parsons, high ankle sprain, going to be out a few weeks. I think the Steelers wind up pulling this game out and beating the Cowboys. I like the Steelers minus 2. Justin Fields has been really good this year. That'll do it, though, for this episode of Uncaged Sports Talk. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in next week as well. I will have an episode out next week. I'm going to have to double up soon on episodes. Maybe next week do an episode just talking about the Phillies. Try to have Mike Boyer on, who's a big Phillies fan or something. And then we'll do an episode talking about the NFL. And hopefully Luke Slocks gets turned around. Let's give me 5 this week. Let's go 5-0 this week. Get to 18-18 on the year. That'll do it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe on all of our platforms. It is greatly appreciated. And tune in next week for episode 62 of Uncaged Sports Talk.